Welcome to the debut episode of Manitoba Music Makers. I'm your humble host, Frank McGwire. This show is created to promote the music scene here in Manitoba, whether it's artists from Brandon or Westman or even outside of this area, in any part of Manitoba. If they're making music, they could be on this show. That could include your band. We'll even feature artists that are coming through Manitoba that are from outside of the province to stop into the studio and tell us about their musical process. Either way, they're making music in Manitoba. Thus, Manitoba Music Makers. So we'll be promoting this scene because it is a good music scene in Brandon, and we want to share it with everybody here in the Wheat City and beyond. This show is many years in the making. About 12 years ago, when I was writing for the Brandon Sun, doing the happenings on the scene column that focused on the local music scene, I dreamed of one day turning that column into a video-style program, much like the one you're about to see now. A show that is like a music news magazine of sorts, with several different segments, all focusing on the musical process, how it's written, how it's produced, how it's performed. We'll have lots of performances on this show, and so on and so forth. It's all about music, and it's all about promoting Westman's music scene, but we wanted to expand the boundaries, include the entire province, so we came up with the name Manitoba Music Makers. And I want to thank Vern and the team here at WCG for believing in the concept and happily green lighting this thing, and away we go. So we want your help too. We'd like you to share the links that are eventually going to be popping up on social media. Share them on your socials. Go to our YouTube channel. You can see past programs on there. It would really help because these artists that are making the music scene happen here in Westman, they deserve to be seen and heard beyond the boundaries of Manitoba. So without further ado, let's get into the first program of Manitoba Music Makers, the debut of this baby. I'm so excited and very happy to present to you my very first guest, Mr. Matt Cory. Matt, welcome to Manitoba Music Makers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
The debut episode. We've got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
You're fresh here off of like a hat trick of awards at the Manitoba Loud Music Awards. What a night that must have been. I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here first, but I want to hear some juicy stories about that night because, I mean, you must have been just on cloud nine. They keep calling your name to come up and get one of these trophies that are in front of us here on the set here. Enlighten me with a few stories from that night.
Yeah, well, well, for starters, it was an unbelievable night. It was probably the highlight of the whole year as far as, playing music goes. It was very interesting. I made the decision going into that award show that if I came home with anything, I was going to pursue music a little more seriously than I had in the past. If I came home with nothing, I was going to accept the fact that I've probably hit my peak. Okay. And,
that's a good approach. That is a very reasonable, kind of responsible approach.
Yeah, it's, I'm not getting any younger, right? And I'm still holding on to the dream, right? So
tell me about it, man.
Right. I didn't really know what to expect going in. I was very hopeful, and I remember, when they announced the first award, which was Guitarist of the Year. I'm a guitar player by trade. That's kind of my favorite, I guess.
Guitar player, may I add. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I see we got some pictures on just, you're going to relive those memories when you see the photos on our studio monitors. So the first one was the Guitarist of the Year award.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the one I was most excited about because I'm a guitar player by trade. That is my go-to instrument. I've been a guitar player for many years, and so to win that award, after the thousands of hours that I've put into playing guitar, to finally be acknowledged by the Manitoba Loud Music Awards, it was like a dream come true, because sometimes, as any musician, you have those moments where you're like, what am I doing? Like, is this even worth it? Like, why have I put in all this time? And then finally, receiving that award, it was like, okay, this was all worth it. The calluses and all the money spent on strings and everything else, So that was the one that I was probably the most blown away about, because that was the first one, right?
Well, you put all those hours in learning your craft and the tunes and your body of work and everything.
Yeah.
And it's an investment of time, a huge investment of time. And what a nice payback.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right? So from there, though, then they announced Vocalist of the Year, and I was just surprised at that point. It was like, wow, really? As a vocalist, I've only been singing for about 5 or 6 years. It's something I always knew that I could do, but I was always very nervous and shy to do it. And actually, it was the band Ghost that made me brave enough to start singing in the first place. I remember hearing them and going, wow, my voice kind of sounds like that guy. If he can do it, I'm pretty sure I can do it. So that was pretty cool. And then they announced Rock Band of the Year. And at that point, we were celebrating quite heavily.
Well, it's a night of celebrations. You know, how many times are you going to go out and, do well at an award show? You might as well,
right.
Cheers.
Oh, absolutely, right? Yeah. So when they announced Rock Band of the Year, myself and Cy Arthurson went up and we accepted this award. And you could have swore that we were doing like a wrestling entrance. It was hilarious. We like got our arms up and we're like, yeah, cheering and stuff.
Yep.
The crowd was so accepting of us too, The next day I kind of woke up and I went, that could have been pretty bad. But everybody really loved it, And that's one of the things that's been so cool about the Manitoba Loud Music Awards is that they're so welcoming. I'm not from Winnipeg, I'm from Brandon, right? And for me to go in and win 3 awards in Winnipeg, I thought, oh boy, this might not look good by the 3rd award, But
right, yeah.
Everybody was like congratulating me and Cy, and I'm so just grateful that everyone has been so welcoming, and it seems like, we're starting to really make a name for ourselves in Winnipeg too, which is nice.
Well, it's well-deserved, the accolades here early on. Well, not early on, you've been at this for a while now, but let's talk about your sound. Now, it's the Manitoba Loud Music Makers. Is it loud music, metal music, rock loud, pop loud? Describe how they've classified you in that. Like, first and foremost, you're a rocker.
Yep.
Let's face it.
Yep,
okay?
absolutely.
But let's get it from Matt, Cory. How would you classify your sound?
So, if I could sum up my sound, I would say it's hard rock. I dabble in other genres from time to time as well. I've released an acoustic EP, for example. I've gotten into more heavy metal stuff where I've done very, aggressive vocal stuff with my voice that's very metal, not hard rock at all. But as a whole, I tend to stay mostly in the hard rock realm.
Okay. Let's backtrack a little bit to the Manitoba Loud Music Awards and the three-peat. And you said you're a Brandonite, you're from Westman, you're going into Winnipeg, you're winning 3 big awards on their turf.
Yes.
So we need to explain to our viewers how they came to be to present those awards to you. It was on a voter basis online, is that correct?
Yes. Okay. So it started with, I was nominated for 4 awards. Guitarist of the Year, Vocalist of the Year, Rock Band of the Year, and Single of the Year for my song Lit Up and Out of Line. From there, there was a voting system that was put in place online where you would log into the Manitoba Loud Music Awards website, and from there you could vote daily. And there were a number of different categories, Metal Band of the Year, Drummer of the Year, all kinds of stuff. And that was throughout the month of September. And so, I had to work pretty hard to, hey guys, remember to vote, it's a good thing, right? And,
promote.
Right.
That's kind of what social media is for.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. So the cool thing is that going into the award show, I had no idea if I had won anything at all. And when they started announcing my name for the 3 out of the 4, I was like, wow, okay, this is awesome. So
I'll take it. Well deserved. Let's talk a little bit, Matt, about your influences. You've been playing for a long time. What made you pick up the guitar in the first place?
Well, that would all stem back to my dad, actually. My dad, he had passed away this past spring, and it's
my
been
condolences.
by the way. Thank you. Yeah, since he's been gone, I've realized how big of an influence he truly has been. When I was a little kid, he used to take me to swimming lessons at the Sportsplex, and we would listen to Captured by Journey, the live album, Van Halen 1, Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith, lots of early U2, and that's where it all sort of started. You know, I remember hearing Eruption as a little kid going like, what, that's a guitar?
Yeah,
you know? As I got older, some of my influences, it changed over the years, right? You evolve and stuff. Alice Cooper is one of my biggest influences. I don't dress like him or anything, but the thing I love about him is that as a kid, I loved, you know, all the shock stuff, right? The blood and the guillotines and the snakes and all the makeup and everything. But as I get older, I start to appreciate how vast his discography is, the different genres. And that's kind of where I get that from, you know. It's like, I'm gonna make a goth EP for no reason at all, just something to do.
Yeah.
But as, you know, a 30-year-old guy now, I look at him and I admire him because of his work ethic. You know, the guy's 75 years old and he's killing it and blowing everybody off the stage that he's playing with. So he would be one of the big influences. Joe Satriani is
Not only an
one.
artist playing in a band, fronting a band, writing songs and whatnot, but he's done radio shows as well.
Yeah.
And just, you know, you get the Hollywood Vampires going now.
Absolutely,
Just
yeah.
a real prolific artist.
Right, yeah. And I think he's one of the greatest rock stars that have ever lived.
So
you
you
know?
kind of, okay, so he would be the typical role model for Matt Cory, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be that busy. You want to do all that stuff. You're an energetic guy. You know, you've got, obviously you got the talent. So now it's after 10 years, like when did you start playing the guitar?
So I started playing guitar probably around age 10.
Okay, so
Probably.
you're 20 years-ish?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
been about 20 years, give or take.
Do you remember the
a little
first
bit.
song you played, or the first one you wanted to learn? Now, obviously, when you heard Eruption for the first time, who doesn't want to learn that?
Right.
Yeah, that harkens me back to the first time I heard that.
Yeah.
That's one of those epiphany, aha moments when you first hear a piece of music like that. Back in the late '70s, I heard it when it first came out.
Yeah.
My brother was one of those ones. You gotta hear this.
Yeah,
come down to my room, and he cranked the stereo up, and I just sat there, and I'm just. It was one of those moments. So
absolutely.
obviously that was influential for you. But the first song that Matt Cory actually learned from front to back on a guitar.
I think the first song that I ever learned was probably "Come As You Are" by Nirvana.
Okay.
And I'll never forget picking up the tabs from my friend's house down the street kind of thing. And I remember looking at the tabs and going, whoa, you got to play 2 strings? Are you crazy? I can't play on 2 strings. That's nuts. And then from there, I started taking guitar lessons at Ted Good Music. And I had 3 different teachers over the course of about 5 years.
Shout out to the teachers.
Yes.
Shout out to the teachers.
Absolutely.
Come on.
The teachers are amazing, you know, and so yeah, I started taking lessons there. I did that for about 5 years, and it was interesting because when I was learning, we didn't actually learn a lot of like songs. We actually, you know, talked more about theory and improvising. I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to write my own music. I mean, why would I want to go learn somebody else's song when they can just play it? I want to play my own stuff, right? So that's kind of how it all started. And then from there, you know, as I got better and a little more confident, I started playing in bands, starting in high school, and then yeah, it just hasn't slowed down since.
You're going to see a lot of improvising on this show right here, Manitoba Music Makers. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. From week to week, it's just going to morph into one thing and another, but we'll make it enjoyable for you. So I'm glad you brought that up. How many songs do you know? Like, how big is the catalog of your song book? How many dozens or hundreds or even thousands of songs do you know?
Yeah, well, for my own music, I mean, I've got hundreds of, you know, songs sitting on my computer. You know, some are a little more complete than others. And then when you look at covers, our acoustic group Vertigo, we have a catalog of probably close to 100 songs.
Okay. So let's just give it maybe a percentage between covers and originals.
50-50 probably.
Good. So we're talking hundreds of songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel that I've become very comfortable with what I'm good at creatively, and I know how to pull a song out just like that. There was this one time where I had just joined the band 18 Rabbit, and they were looking to write new material, and I said, well, I'll give you guys a song. What do you want? And we talked about it, and we were sitting there having some beverages, and I was like, okay, by tomorrow, I'll have you a song. And then sure enough, I did, and they're like, what the hell is this?
A song in a day.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about that body of work. Now, you've been with various bands over the years. You've put out EPs and full-length CDs. Talk a little bit about that, about the process, about how people can go out and get that music online and support Matt Cory.
Yeah, so as far as my discography goes, I've played on a few bands' various songs throughout the years, but I started with my instrumental project that I had called Engines of Creation, and we did 5 EPs and 1 single, and then under my solo project, under my own name, we've got to be at, I'm thinking at least 6 EPs now, and a handful of singles as well. As far as the process goes, a lot of it mostly starts with me, and then I mostly will write alone for the most part. I will bring in a really good friend of mine named Wes Lipischak, and I'll kind of throw ideas at him, and we'll see if things work or if they don't, sort of thing. And we'll just build from there. As far as the process, I tend to ride the wave for a little while. So like if I feel that I have, a few days of inspiration that just come out of nowhere, I will sit in my studio and I will record until I have nothing left. And
Is that right?
Yeah, and it's really strange. I find that May and November tend to be my most creative months. And I've noticed a pattern, like when I look back on the years and when I'm making a song, I'll just save it as a date, whatever, November 21st, 2020 or whatever. And
file it away and then back burner it and bring it back when you feel the timing or the mood is right.
Yeah, and typically in the writing process is I'll sit there and I'll hammer through the whole song in one sitting, musically speaking. And then I'll let it sit for a few days, and see if what I did was actually any good. And then I will wait quite a while. Sometimes it could be 6 months, and I'll come back to the songs. I'll kind of forget about them. I'll come back to the songs, I'll listen to them again, and then I'll start coming up with melodies and lyrics and whatnot. Okay. And then, changing anything that I need to change at that point in time. And then what I've been doing recently is I actually have a producer that I work with out of Sri Lanka.
Oh, wow.
And so what we do now is I'll record all the music at my studio, and then I send it to him, and then he sends it back to me, more polished. And
how did you hook up with that guy?
I met him on the internet.
Good old interwebs.
Yep.
Bringing people together from far reaches of the globe.
Right.
It's a wonderful thing, really. But use that power for good, not evil.
That's right.
Anyway, we saw some pictures as we were, chatting away here, Matt, of previous bands, and Misty Street came up.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I first met you.
Yes.
And we were talking before the interview started here in the studio. We were talking. That's been 10 years since you and I were in that band.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think it was 2013. There's a shot. That's just before I joined the band. You guys had just put out, and gal, had just put out a real good 5-song EP, it was a real heavy sound. Yeah. The look was there, the sound was there. I really enjoyed it. I did actually a review of that album in my Brand and Son column way back in the day. And about a year passed, and I think a couple members of Mr. Street came to see me when I was filling in for a band and said, we want you to be our drummer. Nice. You'll come, you'll meet. And that's when I met you. And how many shows did we do in that, I think, a year that we were in that band?
We were busy. That band was really busy. Yeah. I'm thinking somewhere between, 8 to 12 shows at least, if not probably more than that.
Yeah. I remember doing RFM. We did RFM on the hilltop.
Right.
On a cloudy Sunday. It was early in the day.
Yeah.
We had people dancing, and a New Year's gig at the Canadians. I remember that.
Yes,
Down
right.
at the CC. We played at the CC, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of others, but most of it's kind of foggy because we're talking 10 years now.
Right.
But isn't it neat to look back at those periods of your career and go, you have a lot of those aha moments or brilliant memories that stand out. And it's nice that we can have this opportunity to talk, not just about that band in those times, but on the debut of this whole new creation, Manitoba Music Makers. So, but aside from Misty Street, there's been other bands that you've either guested with or been in for a period of time.
Yeah, so I, after Misty Street, I might not get the timeline right here, but that's okay. I went from Misty Street and then I joined a band called Former KGB. And these guys were all music students and they were all really heavily influenced by folk music. Now, what's really funny about this is that I'm not a music student and I'm not a folk music guy at all. But these guys were all my friends, and I thought, I'm gonna do something completely different and just do this just for fun and just see what happens. And we had a really good run too. The band ended up breaking up because a couple guys moved away and, life happens and stuff. From there, I did the Engines of Creation project, I believe, and that was an instrumental trio which featured myself, Ryan Felstead, and John Muckle on drums, and that was a lot of fun. Playing instrumental music, you don't have a lot of places where you can play, right? But Brandon was very good about letting me come in and open for bands and whatnot, playing at the 40 and the university and whatnot. And then from there, I joined 18 Rabbit, and I was there for about 5 or 6 years. We recorded a bunch of music. I'm not sure where that music is, but
we'll have to talk about the guys. Say, hey guys, where are those tapes?
Yeah, right.
I remember you playing. I saw you guys play at the 40. I think it was the very first gig during the COVID stuff.
Oh yes.
And I came out and took some pics, and then really enjoyed that night. That was 1920 maybe. 20, somewhere in there. Yeah.
If that was during COVID, I remember Rabbit was the last band to play before the full shutdown, right? And this was at the time where you had to stay in your chair. You could not leave. The servers had to come to you. They piled a bunch of chairs and tables and stuff all over the dance floor to keep people off it. And it was such an interesting time to be playing music.
Wow. Just a zany time
Right.
we lived through, and we can tell these weird stories about now.
Yeah.
Your kids and grandkids are going to go, what? You had to do what to get through a pandemic? Well,
Right.
all in the name
Exactly.
of rock and roll. We had to do it that way. Speaking of rock and roll, you have your very good friend and bandmate, Cy Arthurson, is in studio. You're set up. We can see on the set here, you've got your guitar. Cy's got his congas. Set up the song you're about to enlighten us and perform for us. Right now, Matt Cory, what are we about to experience here?
So, since we're doing an acoustic set, I thought, why don't we do something from my acoustic EP? We're gonna do the first song from my acoustic EP, and it's called Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em.
Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em, the first live off the floor song performed for Manitoba Music Makers. Check it out.
The part of the day has come, no more time spent being bored. You know I've got nowhere to be, it's time to catch the sky and just soar. There's a notion of letting go to take me away from this place. I'm stronger, but now I know I just want to but I got this feeling. Smoke if you got 'em, burn it till you feel it. Smoke if you got 'em, make you feel so high. Smoke if you got 'em, burn it till you feel it. Smoke if you got 'em, make you feel so high. Yeah! There's a picture of my life that's hanging on the wall. I see closely as it stares at me, but it really doesn't matter at all. I figured I was so bad, but what did you just say? There's a hole inside my head, but I hope I will feel okay. But I got this feeling. Smoke if you got 'em, burn it till you feel it. Smoke if you got 'em, make you feel so high. Smoke if you got 'em, burn it till you feel it. Smoke if you got 'em, make you feel so high. Yeah.
All right. Matt Cory and Cy Arthurson, Smoke 'em if you got 'em, live here on Manitoba Music Makers. Favorite thing about playing live in a band, what is it for you? Like you're on stage, you're playing these songs you created in your basement or in your studio or whatever, and it's like giving a gift of music to the crowd. Is it kind of like that, or?
Absolutely. The highlight of playing live for me is obviously the crowd's response. But I love when I'm playing one of my songs and the crowd is singing the lyrics back to me. I'm going, that came out of my head and they're singing that? Like, whoa, what? You know, that would definitely be one of my favorite things about playing live.
Beautiful. That's well put, well said. Now, you're an energy guy. I've known you for a little over 10 years now, Matt. You bring the energy. You bring the energy, and that's good. It's a good vibe. It's a good spirit. It's just good all around. Yeah. It's very important to have that on the stage, too. Tell us a little bit about that, because you project that during your shows.
Yeah, I've always been under the idea that if you're going to play a show, you are the person that is supposed to bring everybody up and get them excited about being there. You know, I hate when I go see a band live and they're not really looking at the crowd much. They're not acknowledging the crowd. They're very mellow, kind of in the background and stuff. That to me is so boring. You know, I can listen to that. You know, I don't want to see that because I'm going to get bored and, you know, I don't want to be a part of that. But yeah, I love the idea of having high energy shows. I love like letting people release the tension and the energy that they've built up either during the day or the week or whatever, and just having people get excited about live music and our music that we create, you know?
And with that, we're going to roll a clip of another high energy performance by Matt Cory right here on Manitoba Music Makers. we go. Some more musical magic courtesy of Matt Cory and his band, taped, of course, and here on WCG. For Manitoba Music Makers, I'm your host, Frank McGwire, sitting here with Matt Cory. Matt, craziest thing you've ever done during a live show. What is it? You got to have at least one crazy story for us.
Oh, yeah. So this probably takes the cake.
Okay, sure. I like cake.
So in the early days of Vertigo, my acoustic group, I used to just walk around with a microphone and be a front man, no guitar at all. And I used to walk around the crowd and really get in people's faces, right, to wake them up or whatever it is that they were doing, right? And
if they're on their phone.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it.
They're on their phone and you're there. Hey, there's a show going on.
Right. I'll come sit right beside them and sing to them. But the craziest thing I ever did was we were playing at the Double Decker, and at one point I was up on the bar, walking on the bar, knocking the swinging lights. And I'm going up and down the bar, and I get to the edge of the bar, and the bar breaks.
No.
It snaps in half, and I fall, but I land on my feet, and I'm not even joking, we were doing a cover of Free Fallin'.
No.
I'm not even joking, it was
that is
wild.
awesome. Okay, so did they withhold your pay that night to pay for the bar? How did that go down?
So what we ended up doing was I called the owner at like 2 in the morning, and I said, oh man, I made a big mistake. I just broke your bar. I'm sorry. But I've got an idea. We're going to do a show that is going to pay for the bar, and we're going to call it Bring Your Buds to the Broken Bar Banger. And we took a photo of the broken bar, and like we promoted this as, I broke the bar, but now we need to fix it. And it ended up being a really good night, and they got their bar fixed. We actually took the piece of the broken bar, and everybody that attended that show got to sign it.
Oh, wow.
And the Double Decker has it, and they're going to put it up on the wall as just kind of a, hilarious memory, of back in the day. But that was probably the craziest thing.
Cheers to the Decker for being good sports about that, and to you for making good on that too. That's awesome. Yeah. So conversely to that, craziest thing a fan has ever done during one of your shows?
Well, the one that sticks out in my mind was we were playing a bar that was known for a rough clientele.
Okay.
And we were playing, and I was using a wireless unit, and so I had no cables. And I'm playing, and there was this woman who was heckling me all night. I do fine with hecklers. It doesn't bother me. It's always entertaining, and usually I win them over by the end of the night, But this lady was she's calling me out saying I'm faking it. And she said, you're faking it. You're not even playing guitar. This is all fake.
Because of the wireless.
Right? Couldn't see that the wireless unit was there. So anyway.
And you gave that smirk to her right there. Oh, can we run that back? There.
That's right. So what I did.
How's that for faking? I'm not faking the smile.
So what I ended up doing was I finally had enough of this woman, right? So I actually walked off the stage right towards her, and I was probably this far away, and in the middle of the song, whatever we were doing, I take my hands off the guitar, and then I start slapping the strings. And bwah, bwah, bwah. So do you think this is fake? And this woman just like curled right up and couldn't say anything. And then after that, I think she bought me a drink after that and said, wow.
Hey, there we go. Perfect. So it all worked out in the end.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's segue into another live performance to tape, guys, in the production studio. I don't know if this is the footage of Mike, not your Mike, but your stage antics of him falling off a bar, but we'll roll some footage here of Matt Cory once again on Manitoba Music Makers. Check it out.
Yeah.
guys, I just released a new EP a couple of days ago, 2 days ago to be exact. This EP is called Ghost Rising. It's on all the streaming sites under Matt Cory. I hope you guys can check it out. This is the very first tune from that. It's called Lit Up and Out of Line, which we'll get there.
More music there from Matt Cory on Manitoba Music Makers, and talking about live performances. We're talking about the studio process, the recording, the writing process, everything. It's been great chatting with you, Matt. We're running out of time. I hate the time constraints, but hey, we got to follow somewhat of a format here. We have way more questions, and I could sit and talk to you all day about music. I know you're that way too.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to music, probably your favorite subject, right?
Oh, of course.
Mine too, but speaking of, let's get to more live music here. We'll bring Cy back in on his congas. Set up this next song for us.
So this next song that we're going to play is the debut song or the first song from my debut EP. It's my top streamed song. I can't seem to beat it.
Cool.
It's called Scars on the Ceiling.
Scars on the Ceiling here on Manitoba Music Makers, Cy Arthurson and Matt Cory.
Picking up the pieces scattered by the hurricane. Dirty wishful thinking, spirit running through my brain. Consequences drive up, bringing everything to chance. Give it all a go, maybe this is my last dance. Take a photograph and see again, see again. Times are changing, rules are dead. Just take me there. So teach me and show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. Teach me and show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. Hey! Another day passes, everything feels the same. Don't like where I am, but baby, who's to blame? Going all in, gonna undo all these wrongs. Let my love lie bleeding, gonna go where I belong. See the faces come to love again, love again. I need to feel just what you said. Just take me there. So teach me when show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. So teach me when show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. Hey! See the faces come to love again, love again. I need to feel just what you said. Just take me there. So teach me when show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. Teach me and show me the stars in your eyes are scars on the ceiling. Hey!
All right, more from Matt and Cy here on Manitoba Music Makers. Just love it. Love live music. Love the fact that we could have it on this show and in your living room or wherever you may be watching. Could be in your, I don't know, your bathroom on your phone. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. I'm just glad you're tuned in, and I'm so glad you came on the show. Talk about where people can get recorded performances of that. What platforms are you available on, and what's out there for Matt Cory fans? How do they get your stuff?
Absolutely. So you can check out my website, mattcorymusic.com. All of my music is available on pretty much every streaming platform imaginable. Just type in Matt Cory and you'll find me on there. YouTube as well. We've got lots of content on there. And you can also find my music on The Spark, one of the best, most awesome internet radio stations out there.
Not biased at all. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned The Spark, because The Spark is kind of a co-sponsor of this show, WCG being the title sponsor of Manitoba Music Makers. And Matt's right, you can hear his stuff on The Spark, sparkwebradio.com, and there's a lot of other independent artists on there. And our local rock file that is presented by the 40. We thank them for their ongoing support. And we thank you for watching. Matt, thanks for being on the show. Say hi to Cy for me. He's on the wings somewhere. Cy, thanks for coming in. And I know you brought your girlfriend Beth too, so we'll give her a shout out as well. They're kind of in the green room right now making faces at us, which is a beautiful thing. Right. Matt, all the best in the future with your future endeavors, with music or whatever else that you have going on. It's been a pleasure having you here on the first show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
All right. Thanks for watching Manitoba Music Makers on WCG Channel 12.